Hi, my name is Darren, and today I will be doing my presentation on Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was born circa 1820 within Dorchester County in Cambridge, Maryland, according to Humes, and is best known for her contribution as a conductor on the Underground Railroad, which was formed by abolitionists dedicated to helping slaves gain their freedom. She is now recognized as one of the most important African American figures in the years before the U.S. Civil War. The reason I had chosen this topic was because I always found it interesting to learn about in my primary and secondary schooling, but never felt that I went into depth enough about Harriet Tubman's personal life, the Underground Railroad, or her other contributions throughout history. What specifically intrigued me was the system and how she was able to get so many people to band together to save the wrongly enslaved people. I remember reading about stories of escaped people and found it to be extremely inspiring and interesting. Now, how did this contribute to African American history? As stated before, Harriet Tubman was known to be one of the most influential and impactful figures in African American history. Through her leadership in leading around 300 slaves to safety in the North, Harriet Tubman was able to lead others to freedom, just like how she did for herself. She was even known as the Moses of her peoples, according to McGowan and Cashatus. However, her work in the Underground Railroad commonly overshadowed her other impressive contributions she made, which will be later stated in this presentation. Firstly, we have been told many times of how Harriet Tubman was a conductor, but many of us weren't educated about her methods or how she was able to so effectively help the many people. Harriet Tubman used the constellation reading abilities she learned from her father in order to become spatially aware and highly adept at creating cognitive maps of the future, according to Cahill. She also had to learn cartography and geology in order to create the most effective and safe routes for those who were enslaved. Those who were escaping were often told to follow the North Star, which helped to clear a lot of confusion. Secondly, she performed an extreme amount of feats in her entire life to impact the US. In short, she did so much more than what is generally taught about her. For instance, she was, according to Cahill, an expert herbalist and wildcrafter who used her knowledge of plants to heal black and white soldiers in the Union Army before the Civil War as a nurse. She even used this knowledge in order to help those in the escape from slavery. Furthermore, she made many contributions as a peacemaker and stateswoman, led an armed assault during the Civil War, was a spy for the Union, fought for women's suffrage, and even donated and helped to create a home that would be made for those who were aged, indigent, and colored. It was known as the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged, and opened on June 23, 1908, according to McGowan and Cashatus. Furthermore, little is taught about Harriet Tubman's life before she became that famous conductor we all know her to be. As stated before, Harriet Tubman was born circa 1820 and was a slave on the Broadass plantation. Moreover, she had 10 other siblings. Tubman began her slave work when she was 5 years old as a housekeeper, but was then forced to work in the cotton fields after 7 years of domestic work, according to Anne McGill and Sarah. She was then forced to marry a slave named John Tubman and has always thought about escaping the plantation. However, her husband was unsupportive, threatening to tell their master if she would decide to pull through with the plan. This did not stop her from finding her own freedom, though, which she eventually did when the right time came. Fourthly, it's her escape. Tubman originally planned to escape with 3 of her brothers because the owners were planning to sell them into the South, which would make them have almost zero chance in escaping. However, the brothers were too afraid to follow through with the plan, causing her to have to escape on her own. Feeling lost, she didn't know what to do, but then she remembered a white woman who had repeatedly whispered in her ear and offered help to Harriet Tubman if she ever needed it, according to Anne, McGill, and Sarah from the Harriet Tubman biography. With this information, Harriet Tubman was able to find their farmhouse and escape at night. She then followed many safe houses instructions and reached Pennsylvania as a free woman. Lastly, after constructive feedback and debating due to Harriet Tubman's impact on African American rights, women's suffrage, and the Civil War, it was announced that she would be the first woman on any money, well, specifically here on the $20 bill. This was announced in 2015 by Barack Obama's Treasury Secretary Jacob K. Lew. Even today, her efforts are being paid homage to. Her passion and strength in creating the best conditions for America are extremely influential and admirable even today. How did this project impact me? How did this research impact me? Well, after conducting the research that I did about Harriet Tubman, I was extremely glad I was able to broaden my knowledge on such an amazing and extraordinary woman. Her many efforts and contributions in her life have inspired me, allowing me to realize that there's so much time in your life to make a difference, and there's so much you can do, especially for the greater good. I feel like after what she did, I could carry her spirit with me as I work towards the goals in my life. I now see why she is such an inspiration to many, as now she is one to me as well, even more as she was before. Thank you.